Hey everyone, welcome to the Realtor.com Huddle. So happy to have you, and I know a lot of you will be joining as we go. My name's Andrew Dorn, and I'm a national speaker with Realtor.com. And April 9th, just this year, I guess that'd be 2 months ago, April 9th marked my 20th year. And Connie, I don't think you know this.
Congratulations.
My 20th year at Realtor.com. So Connie, they hired me when I was 7. So the first few years were very difficult. I didn't relate to people anyway. So welcome to the Huddle, everyone. I'm so excited to introduce. Well, first of all, we have a special guest internally in Realtor.com. It's Marci James, who is Director of Industry Marketing. So great to see you, Marci. You look great.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. And then Connie, it's great to have you on as well, and I can't wait for this conversation. But there's a little bit to tell you about you first. You're a 5-time best-selling author, 2 of which are international bestsellers. You've written several courses, including one of your most recent, which is Crisis Knowledge Management Certification. And so you help train professionals to go out to their communities and really help them be prepared. Important stuff like surviving and recovering from disasters and crisis. So it's such a pleasure to have you. And I know, Marci, you were the one that contacted Connie, and I'm really excited about today. And this will be about 30 to 35 minutes in length, so it's not going to be long. But I want to remind everybody, we can see your questions. So you could see a chat, and anytime you want to ask Connie, Marci, or myself a question, you can. But Connie, you look great. Welcome to the Huddle.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very excited about this. And it's really nice to meet you, Andrew. And congratulations on your 20 years, even if you were only 7 when you started.
That's right.
And then Marci, how you feeling today?
I feel great. Thank you. I'm excited. I want to ask whoever's watching, tell us where you're located and
Wonderful.
If there are any potential natural disasters in your market. Like, do you live somewhere where you deal with hurricanes, wildfires, floods, tornadoes, that sort of thing? I feel like almost all of us have some potential natural disaster where we live. Well, actually, we absolutely do. There's something that could happen anywhere that would create a crisis. But let us know where you're at, and if you've ever been through any sort of a natural disaster, that'd be great to know as well.
And Connie is all over Google. So again, her name is Connie, but it's spelled differently for me. It's C-O-N-I. That's it for the first name. And then her last name is Meyers, M-E-Y-E-R-S. So go ahead and Google her, check her out on LinkedIn. This is going to be really, really helpful to anybody listening. And like Marci said, even if you're just listening in, can you please right now go to the public chat that you see, it should be on the right side of your screen, and just type in the town you're in, okay? And then I'm going to ask a few more questions throughout. But I'm going to turn it over to Marci right now because I know you have a great question to start off with Connie.
Yeah, I've known Connie for a long time. She's been a trainer in the industry and obviously a writer for a very long time. But I found her journey to writing a disaster relief program to be interesting because I was like I didn't know Connie to be in the world of disaster relief in any way, shape, or form. So I was like, I had to ask her, like, how did you end up putting this program together? Because I've seen the program, I've been through part of her training, and it's a phenomenal program. But I want to know how you got to this point, Connie.
Well, I have to say, I used to say I was just a cat with 9 lives with different kinds of careers and things. But in all reality, everything I did from the time I was in my early 20s to today was to bring me to have the experience to be able to write this course and to be able to offer it out. I was a founder of 2 companies that went from the local market to the national stage. One of them was the largest home inspection network in the country when we sold it back in the 90s. That was back when you had to explain to a realtor what a home inspection was and what they'd say, why do you want that?
Right.
And then also an online education platform that's being used by many state associations, including California, as their platform for education. I spent 7 years as a FEMA inspector and trainer. And during that period of time, I wanted to write a consumer book because there was a lot that consumers didn't know or understand about FEMA. And that never actually happened until the book that's coming out. So everything I've done has brought me to this journey. And it was really by accident. I used to always have this thought, what does this FEMA stuff have to do with anything I'm doing now? Because I was doing life coaching, I was doing leadership coaching, I was writing leadership books, I wrote a leadership course. And I kept saying, what does that FEMA stuff have to do with anything that I'm doing today? And 2 years ago, in January and February and part of March, I was really sick. Whatever the flu was back then, I had it.
Ooh,
and I'm sitting in my chair, and I have 3 things I always tell people to do. Write your vision, listen to your vision, speak your vision. Write things you're grateful for and things that you've had as successes, even if it's just getting out of bed. And I'm sitting there, I'm sicker than a dog, and I forgot to do all those things. And a very dear friend of mine, Kirsten O'Shield, she actually coached me for a number of years. She was coming into town to be a keynote speaker for the National Association of Women Business Owners and asked me to come and be her guest. And while I'm sitting in my chair, I've decided that I'm not making a difference. I've decided that I just need to quit. I was 70 then. I was just going to quit. So I get to this luncheon, and I get there a few minutes early so we can chat. And she says, so what are you up to? And I go, Kirsten, I think I'm quitting. And she put her finger in my face, and she said, you are not quitting. I will not let you quit. And I said, okay. She says, I talk about you all the time and how you've changed your life and you're changing other people's lives since your husband passed away. I came home that afternoon and I sat in my chair and I said, okay, what is really going on here? And I realized all those things I told other people to do, I hadn't done in those 2.5 months. Mm-hmm. And then I had that thought, what does that FEMA stuff have to do with anything I'm doing today? 3 weeks later, I got an email from the California Association of Realtors, which has some of my other courses on it. And they had a list of topics that they wanted for the following year. And one of them was disasters. And I wrote them back and I said, nobody gets that one but me.
Yeah.
And it started out just to be a 3-hour course. And when I taught it at their big expo in October of 2019, and then I did a big panel presentation. There were over 200 people for their professional development and education committee meeting. And while I'm moderating the panel, I'm listening to the people that I had on the panel. There was a person from FEMA, a person from the CERT program, association executive from Santa Barbara, and then a friend of mine who had gone through the Malibu fires and her experience. And so it's a powerful panel. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm like, there is so much more that needs to be told about this. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up sitting down and being quarantined. I couldn't go out and speak anywhere. So here I am stuck on my friend's sofa. And I ended up writing this 4-course certification. And my new vision is to help 30 million people be better prepared over the next 5 years.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Oh, and the real estate community is my answer and my key to making that happen.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like there's two pieces to this course that I want everybody to understand. One of them is there's the piece, how do you prepare your business? Because if the Santa Barbara fires, if a fire came through and burned your business to the ground and you had not, would you be prepared to continue business the next day? And then the other piece is, how do agents and brokers who are vital parts of their community prepare the people in their communities for disasters? How do they help them prepare so that their homes are better prepared, they're better prepared? And so I think there's actually 2 really interesting parts of the course.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things I did, because when they were marketing the class for the expo, several agents came up and they go, well, we're interested, but how's this going to help our business? Mm-hmm. So in writing the course, I wrote it in such a way that, first of all, yes, you have to be prepared yourself. And 75% of all businesses are out of business in 2 years after they've been affected by a disaster if they don't have a disaster plan. Yeah. So that's number 1. But number 2, who better than the real estate community to be out there and help their community be better prepared and increase their business all at the same time. People are always looking for leads. If you are out there and I've written a course that you can take and customize for your community, depending on the type of risk factors you have. And you can either go out there and teach the course yourself. You've got the slides. You can also, if you just want to send, I've got it recorded so they can send out the video. And then every single month after that initial course, I have something that I send out that is like a smaller training that's both for the advisors as well as for their community. So I'm constantly feeding things that they can have to give out to their community, because I'm doing two things at one time. I'm helping to prepare the community, but I'm also helping the realtors stand out in their community.
Yeah, I love that. But since we're doing this Facebook Live today to a B2B industry audience of agents and brokers, excuse me, can you give us like a basic rundown of what should agents and brokers be doing to make sure their business is prepared in case there's a natural disaster in their market? What can they do ahead of time?
Okay, well, first I want to emphasize that the class, it's not just natural disasters, it's man-made disasters like pandemics, mass shootings, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cyber attacks. It's also any other kind of crisis. The training that's in there covers it all. And the most important thing when it comes to brokers and businesses is to make sure that they have several different plans. They need to have a communication plan. Who's going to communicate with who? You need to have a data plan. What's going to happen with your data if you can't reach, like if your computers are down? You need to have an alternative email system in case your email system doesn't work. And you do all of that by creating a crisis management team. So on that team, if you're just a small 1 or 2 person office, join up with another agent or join up with your home inspector and your title company and your lender to create a team so that you know who's going to take care of what. And then you need to have 2 individual crisis center sites. You need to have one inside your office that is fully self-contained, that has all of the emergency stuff that you need to have. And then you need to have another one that's outside of your office. So maybe it's in your home, or maybe it's in an alternative office or something like that. But having 2 different locations so that if the one location is damaged or destroyed, you have another location to go to. And
so redundancy is key.
Oh, it is. And you know, in the emergency world, they talk about resilience all the time, whether it's infrastructure resilience or having a business be resilient. By doing this preparation, and it doesn't have to be difficult, it can be very simple. You can actually provide and receive resilience because you know you're prepared. A really good example of that is recently there was a little bit of a shake in Southern California, and my partner who lives there, she used to be the education director for the California Association. And she's super smart. And she said that before, whenever there was a shake, she would stand up and run around and figure out what she needed to do. This time, she didn't even think. She stood up, she grabbed her shoes, and over to her kit she went. Now, the shake wasn't bad, so she just stood there for a few minutes to wait and see what was going to happen. But the bottom line is she didn't have to think. When you have a business and you have agents, you want to make sure you know exactly what you're going to do. And then you need to make sure that the agents know what they need to do so that they know exactly if something happens, what to do, who to call. Another really important factor is who's going to be talking to the news media. You don't want just anybody out there talking to the news media.
Right.
You want somebody that's had some training and knows how to keep it short and sweet. And this is true whether it's a crisis of some kind. I mean, it could be something that's happened inside of your office that has nothing to do with a disaster. But putting this crisis center together will help you in all aspects of your business.
I got to be candid here. I've learned more in the last 15 minutes than I have in a long time. I can't remember the last time, truly. Like, I just was really naive to this. So 2 things. First of all, I pulled up your website. You're the founder and CEO of CKM Solutions Group. So that's your website.
That's my website.
In a second, I want you to tell people what to do there. Okay, again, that's ckmsolutionsgroup.com. But first, we have someone on named Thiago, and he's a painting contractor, and he's offering to help, actually, wherever he is. So, Thiago, can you please drop in your town, and just so people can actually see where you are, that'd be great. Like, where are you located, so they have a contact if they need help after disaster with painting. So thank you for that. So now, Coni, back to this. So what, if anything, should they go and look at here?
Well, first of all, when you go to the website, ccamsolutionsgroup.com, the first thing that's going to pop up is you get a free download that has everything you need for an emergency kit. It has 4 emergency kits. Everybody thinks they only need to have 1 emergency kit. No, you need to have 4 emergency kits, especially if you work outside of the office. And actually, you need to have a lot more of that if you have kids or seniors or people with disabilities in your home. So there's a whole list there, and it lists all the things you need to have in your emergency kits. There's also some questions you need to ask about what you need to do as far as plans go. So if you're a parent, you need to have a parent plan, a communication plan, a kids plan, your business plan, all of those things. That gives you the questions you need to ask. And then it gives you a couple of really good pieces of advice. First of all, the STOP acronym. STOP means before you do anything, you take 1 minute to stop, and then you take a breath, and then you observe what's going on around you. And first observe what's going on inside of you. Calm yourself, bring yourself to the present moment. And then observe what's going on around you. And then take action, proceed, move forward. So that's in there and explains that. So there's lots of really good information in that form that you can download for free on my website. So, and then there's information in there about how to become a CCAM advisor and what all that means for you and your business.
Yep, I see that right here. Become a crisis knowledge management advisor. So again, I'm not going to repeat the website because they typed it in, so everybody can see it on the screen, Coni. Everybody can see it.
It's a great way to provide value to the community that you live in.
You know, one of the things I just read an article this morning, and they were talking about how agents are not just getting, paying for leads, but how they need to really be out there as part of their community. And this is such a unique tool. I'm not aware of anyone else doing quite what I'm doing. There's other people out there teaching what to put in an emergency kit, but that's about it. I don't know of anybody at this moment in time that's doing exactly what I'm doing as far as helping people be part of their community and serving them and increasing their business at the same time. So by becoming a CCAM advisor, you have a unique tool in your toolkit to be able to really shine.
A lot of times when I do sessions, Marci, somehow, some way it comes up about, like, why are you doing this? Like, so you're a realtor, you're making money, great job, but what's your end game? Like, for example, our great friend Jenny Lee out in Hawaii, Marci, that she, if anybody needs to know about what to do with pets, we're talking about dogs, cats, birds. She is absolutely the realtor on the Big Island. She's on the Big Island, one with the volcano. So for those of you listening right now that don't have that, I love this. Like, this is it's so real. Like, you're going to become someone who's the expert in the community at when things go bad, know what to do. Like, I'm not kidding. That's like, we're talking about lives are at risk type things here. And what if you're the one who's the local agent that's known for that? I mean, if what I'm saying doesn't pump you up, then obviously it's not the right fit for you. But if you get what I'm saying, that you would want to be that person, I believe Coni is showing you the way right now. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. There's tremendous value to be had in what Coni offers. And I have her downloadable tips and with her 4 lists on it. And I found it really interesting because I lived in South Florida for 8 years and went through several hurricanes, the largest of which was a Category 3, which is pretty big. I mean, we lost every tree, we lost roof tile. It's a scary event. We lost power for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it was so interesting. And one of the things that I found that Coni had on her list was to have cash in your emergency kit. You need to have cash. And it's so true, because I'm telling you, when there's no power, the registers don't work. There's nothing you can go. It was really an interesting experience. Another thing that I never thought about until I went through it was that gas stations can't pump gas when there's no power. So you better have your vehicle full of gas, because it's going to take a couple days for everybody to get their generators up and running so that you can pump gas. And when that does happen, the gas lines are going to be super long. So you better have a tank full of gas, which is, I know, probably at the top of Coni's list. But just some of these little things that I experienced that you never think about unless you're prepared or you've been through it.
I have to tell you, I think one of the other really most important points that I like to make to people is, people think, well, the firemen and the police and the first responders are all going to show up. Sometimes it takes them 24 to 48 hours. So you and your neighbors or your business associates are your first responders. And if you are not trained to know what to do, then it is just pure confusion. A really good example of that is my friend who's in Malibu. When the Malibu fires happened, she was born and raised there, and her mom was still living in the family home. And she had an office of about 30 or 40 agents. Well, when the fires came through, the family home was destroyed, and several of her agents in her office had damaged or destroyed homes. The way that the fire was headed, she and her husband thought she and him and her kids were safe. Turns out they got a knock on the door in the middle of the night saying they had 15 minutes to get out. Mm-hmm. She took half of that time just spinning around in a circle, because what happens? Your mind goes blank, right? Yeah. And the bottom line is they got to the shelter, and her little girls, who at the time I think were like 4 and 6, she had brought nothing for her kids. Now I want you to take that, and I want you to think about your business. So here you are, you've got a small, medium-sized brokerage. You've got agents out there, you've got clients out there that are going through this all with you. If you do not know how to be prepared, if you are not become the advisor of your area, and you start with yourself, and then you go to your office and you make sure that people understand what they need, depending on the type of risk you have. Over 98% of all the counties in the country have floods.
Okay.
And the amount of storms and things that have increased. But let's take it beyond that. Let's just talk about the everyday life. So every day there's something that goes wrong. Well, the training in this course will help you to be prepared, even if it's some kind of internal disaster, not external disaster. Or what are you going to do if the power goes out? How do you handle that? How do you handle if you have a cyber attack? What are you going to do? What are the plans? Those are all things that you need to think about in a way that you are not you're not spinning around in a circle, not knowing what to do. You're able to react. You're able to be resilient. There's one whole course on just mindset, leadership, and communication, because mindset is number one. If you don't have a resilient mindset, then everything else is out the window. If you're going to recover, you've got to have good leadership and good communication. Otherwise, you may not recover at all. You might be one of those statistics. Or if you are prepared, and you will recover, and you'll recover more quickly.
Right.
I thought of the fires that happened in California. They came within 18 miles of my house here in Half Moon Bay. And it was so bad that impromptu, me and a few friends, we set up an annual fishing derby. And what that meant is a bunch of guys and gals. Actually, I'll be honest, there was only one gal. She was on my boat. Her name's Chelsea. Anyway, there was probably 40 gentlemen in Chelsea, and we went out and fished for salmon and rockfish and halibut, and we came back and weighed them, and each boat had to pay a lot of money, and they knew all the money was going directly to fire victims. And we ended up raising $15,000, which is not astronomical, but $15,000 that went directly to the people in need. We made sure of that. I guess the reason that I bring that up is that could have been me. That 19 miles could have just been me easily. And even I just think that the average person, Coni, they don't think about them being as a potential victim, a potential part of a disaster. I mean, like, how often does someone even bring that up? Like, you just count on the fact that life is the way it is.
Well, and it's kind of like when you have to think about writing a will, you don't want to think about dying. Well, it's the same thing. But
Right.
here's a statistic for you. 61% of all Americans believe that they are going to be affected by some type of disaster over the next 3 to 5 years. Depending on the type of preparedness you're talking about, 15 to 35% have some kind of preparation. The 35% is emergency kits, and I can tell you that out of that 35%, there's probably 10% of them that are actually prepared the way they need to be. So I think it's vitally important. And one of the other things is, get yourself prepared. And then if you, like with your fishing thing, find a way to help your neighbors that maybe can't afford to be prepared. One of the things we're working on right now is putting together a program to be able to, we're calling it Kits for Kids. And we want to put emergency kits into the hands of children that may not be able, their parents may not have the resources to be able to do that. And we're just in the process of developing that now. But anything like what you did to help the victims, I mean, anything like that, realtors are very resourceful.
Yes,
and
yes.
There's so many fun ways to put something together that can make even if it's just a tiny little bit of difference, to make a difference in your community. Get involved. There's a wonderful program called CERT, Community Emergency Response Team. It's through FEMA. And it's a 17.5-hour training that helps you to be, you're the first responder, it helps you be a good first responder. It teaches you light search and rescue. It teaches you basic first aid and resuscitation. And depending upon the type of disasters in that particular area, they will customize the training. So it's free training. It's another wonderful way of being involved with the community. You take that and you add it to the CCAM Advisor certification, and you've got one powerful tool to make a difference and improve your business.
I love the Kits for Kids idea as well. And I feel like there's so many opportunities for people to have little local chapters of that where they can do Kits for Kids in their local markets and in the event of a disaster. So I love that idea.
Coni, I feel like you are actually living your passion. Like you must wake up every day thinking, well, I get to help people. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, that's because this is your main focus, right? I mean, this is your life.
This is like I said at the beginning, my whole life, little did I know until I had that thought and got that email. I mean, I really was ready to retire. I'm 72 now. And what's interesting about that is when you are living your passion, and this is stuff I've been teaching for about 10 years now, right? When you are living your passion, you absolutely, things show up in your life. Marci showed up in my life. I didn't know it at the time why she showed up, but she showed up. Now, Andrew, you've showed up in my life.
I'm here.
I have an amazing team that showed up without me having to search. They came to me. And by living your passion, and this is my whole, it's everything to me. It's everything to me to help the people that become CCAM advisors. I want to help them with every possible tool I can come up with to make their lives better, to make their communities' lives better. That's how I'm going to get to 30 million. It's not going to be, Coni Meyers can't do it. It takes a village. It takes a whole team of people. And together, we can save lives. We can save lots of lives. We can save a lot of property. And we sure as the devil can save a lot of money. The cost of disasters is quadrupling all the time.
Oh, wow.
And last year we had 6 weeks that we had a new or rare disaster every single week.
Oh my God.
And we're just now coming into hurricane season. It was all over the news this morning about the drought. Here, Lake Mead is at the lowest it's been since it was being filled in the 1930s.
Oh.
And now the fire season last year, the fire season that averages 2 million acres a year. Last year it was 4 million, and they're saying this year is going to be worse. So how can we can't sit back. We can't sit back and say, oh, well, somebody else is going to take care of that for me. No, we have to be the ones to step up to the plate and say, even if it's just a tiny little give, just something you can do, and what a success, and how it makes you feel is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Well, you got me fired up, and I think I could speak for Marci. If you ever need anything from us, I can already tell Marci is there as well. So we're here for you. What you do is awesome. I I've learned so much. Like even these little simple things, like you said, no, you don't need one, you need four. Like how would I ever know that? And you have all the logistics and the reasons why. So I hope that a lot of our audience at least opens their eyes to this more, and at least for their clients, buyers and sellers, and their friends and their sphere could be a resource from this, because now they have the website, they have you, and hopefully they've learned a lot like I have.
Yeah. So I just want to remind everybody that's watching, go to the cmksolutionsgroup.com. There's a link in the chat, in the chat below. So go there, download the free tip sheet that has the 4 preparedness lists on it. So everything you need for your disaster kits is on that PDF. So go and download that and check out Coni's website and learn more there.
And Coni, but before we end, I have one story to share. I think it'll give you energy, everybody listening energy, because your story is inspiring. So I was at a workshop. We do these Realtor.com hosted workshops, and I had a special guest. And this special guest name was Robert. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't think it makes sense to mention his last name. So Robert and I were on a panel together, and I asked him about how he grew his real estate business. And it went great. We had over 200 people in the audience. People were inspired. People were coming up to him. By the way, he signed up 4 agents that day to join his team that day. So 4 new people under him. And at the end, I offered to take him out to lunch, and I had another friend there named Pete, and he came to lunch too. So we're sitting at a table with like 7 people, and Pete, who wasn't the special guest, not the speaker, he was just a friend of mine. He said, "Hey Robert, I'm thinking about retiring." And because I've done real estate a long time, it's kind of time. And Robert goes, "How old are you?" He goes, "I'm 67." He goes, "That's the year I started my real estate business." And he's one of the top teams in the country right now. He's older than you, Coni, and he's an absolute dynamo. And the reason I bring that up is I'm done talking after this. I'll let you guys close it out. But I think everybody needs to realize it's never too late to do something great.
Well, I started 90 days before I turned 70. I started a Saturday morning. It's at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. You just find me on Facebook. You'll find it. It's called at the time it was called Headed to 70, because I wanted to show people that it's just a number. And I had so much fun doing it that I had to change the name because I was already 70, so I couldn't say Headed to 70. So now it's called to 70 and beyond. And every week I talk about something in life. Something in general in life. Sometimes as it relates to crisis and stuff's happened to me. I'm very open about where I'm going and how I'm getting there, because I think we have to be authentic. We have to, when there's bad, there's bad. You have to face that, right? And it's just a course correction. It's not a failure. So I think it's really important that we understand that it doesn't matter about our age. I feel younger, Andrew. I feel younger today than I felt when I was 50, and it's because I'm living my passion. And I'm doing something that is making a difference. It's my legacy. And I plan on having this legacy go a long time. So one thing else I'd like to kind of mention is that if you're a broker owner and you are looking to recruit people, this is a great tool for that. Like you were talking about, you get fired up and you understand how this could work. And it's a great recruiting tool.
Awesome.
Well, we've loved having you. This is every other Thursday we do the Huddle, and this is one of my favorites of all time. Coni, it's great to meet you. And
thank you.
Marci, thanks for joining this time and other times. And I look forward to following you, Coni, and reach out to me anytime if you need anything.
Oh, you'll be hearing from me for sure.
Marci?
Thank you very much. Thanks, Coni, for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great conversation. Great conversation. Thank you all.
All right.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.